And we're back. So this is going to be exciting for a couple of reasons. One, clearly have a little bit of a setup here. Got my Lego car behind me, Ford GT. Really cool. My sister just got that for me for my birthday, and a Ferrari in a slightly smaller scale. This is the traveling setup. So this table, the tablecloth, everything you see behind you, this is going to be coming with me whenever we record in other places, and we still want to do it on video. So that's pretty cool. But outside of that, as you guys can see, we got merch now. These came out absolutely cool. I was really pretty conscious about the quality that we were going to go with. I really wanted to go with something that was really genuinely good. Because when people buy merch, we've seen it time and time again, you're excited to support your favorite brand, but the stuff just sucks. It's just not good material. It's not good. Doesn't fit well. Certainly don't look good in it. So we went above and beyond. We actually partnered with a company here in the United States to make these just really, really comfortable cotton hoodies, t-shirts, anything you can think of. I am a big RTR fan, so I'm rocking some RTR gear as well. But yeah, the AutoTalksUS brand is definitely here to stay. We're going to be seeing a pretty significant rise in the popularity of this show. The more we get involved in the community, I think shooting at events is going to be really important. I think recording at events is going to be important in general, letting the public speak their mind, introducing people. The goal is basically give the community a platform, give the people a platform, right? We want to get people's opinions on the automotive industry as a whole. And so really, you got to have something that you can travel with that is that speaks to your audience, that's a representation of your brand. And so this is kind of going to be it. Now, switching gears, I definitely had something important I wanted to talk about today, which is the 2025 Formula One season. That's about to kick off, and that is huge for me personally. I'm obsessed with Formula One, always have been. It's kind of cool. We have Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc at Ferrari for the first time. This is kind of like a story that was made in heaven. We all knew it was coming. Everybody knew that Lewis was moving on to Ferrari. I think for the last 18 months, maybe 24 months, about 2 years now, we've known that he was coming over. We're obviously huge Ferrari fans around here. I can't tell you guys what that means for us in the long run, but what I can tell you in the short term is that Lewis Hamilton being at Ferrari is going to put Ferrari cemented into Ferrari history for the second time. Michael Schumacher already basically did that in the late 90s when he left Jordan and came to Ferrari pretty much right out of the gate. He had very little time at other teams before he went to Ferrari. He helped them right their ship. Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong with the way Ferrari's operating right now. I'm definitely not going to go there. Can they do better? Absolutely. They haven't won a championship in a very, very long time. So, with that being said, they have a 7-time world champion now coming on board, the most decorated Formula One driver possibly ever, depending on who you ask, depending on who you may or may not support in and around the time of COVID. So there's going to be some controversy there. However, there's no controversy around the fact that Lewis Hamilton's one of the all-time greats. And he is coming onto a team that desperately needs somebody like that because they clearly have an issue. So, in my opinion, being very, very into it, is Lewis Hamilton's about to turn that ship around. He's about to show Charles what real, true leadership looks like, along with having Fred Vasseur as the team principal. Now, for a lot of you that don't know, Fred Vasseur is, he's been around for quite a while in motorsport. He was actually Lewis Hamilton's team boss in GP2. I don't remember the team. I think it was a ART. If I was right, somebody owes me a coffee. I think it was ART. If it was ART, I think that sounds right. Could have been something else, but Fred Vasseur knows who Lewis Hamilton is. He got to work with Lewis before Lewis came to McLaren in 2007 or 2008. 2006? 7. Yeah. 2007. Or 8. Before Lewis Hamilton came and joined Ron Dennis at McLaren, Fred Vasseur got to work with him. That's the point I'm trying to make. And so these next, 17 years that Lewis Hamilton was with McLaren, with Mercedes, and now coming over to Ferrari, Fred Vasseur knows who he's dealing with. He's dealing with an old friend. He's dealing with an old employee, and also the most decorated Formula One of all time, driver of all time. So the stage has been set to where Ferrari now has basically just the all around scenario. Their employee is qualified to help run the ship, or to at least help run the ship. So, as a fan, I'm excited about that. I think personally, because I am a big Charles Leclerc fan, I do kind of see this little conflict of emotions where I want to see Charles win his first world championship, but I also desperately want Ferrari to come out on top with the help of Lewis. So, would it be great for Charles to win a championship this year just to get his first? He has been the number one driver at Ferrari for the last 4 years. It'd be really, really nice to see him win his first title before Lewis Hamilton sort of says, you know what, guys, I'm going for my 8th. It's destined. It's to be. Charles, don't make me do to you what I tried to do to Max, albeit Max ended up winning the bullying contest that year. But still, the point is that I would really like to see Charles win his first world title before Lewis goes after his 8th. However, there's room for both. And truly, in the interest of sportsmanship, best man rises. So, game on. Let's see what they both can do. As for the other teams, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri at McLaren, they posted something interesting recently where basically they said we're both starting over from scratch. And why is that important? Well, Lando Norris has been the number one driver at McLaren for a couple of years now. There hasn't been a number one and a number two situation at McLaren until Fernando Alonso departed, and then very quickly Lando Norris became number one. Right now, we have a instance where a team like McLaren have the technology, finally, the car that is going to win races again, like last year, except even more hardcore. They're not changing the principles like they are for next season. The 2026 season has massive regulation changes. It's not the case for 2025. The 2025 cars are basically like the 2024 cars, which means McLaren should be doing pretty well this year. We're not predicting that McLaren's going to do poorly. That's not been the speculation for 2025. The speculation for 2025 is that McLaren is coming for Red Bull's throat. So the conversation needs to be, is McLaren now developed enough internally to bring the fight to Red Bull if the machinery is there? I have a hypothesis on this that the machinery is definitely there for McLaren. I think the car is 100% going to be developed enough to win races. Now, Lando Norris's biggest struggle last year was taking advantage of that first lap. He'd slap it on pole position, but then he'd kind of lose that position a couple times due to scrappy behavior on the opening lap. I think he's worked on that. He specifically said on Instagram recently that he's worked on it. He's developed as a driver, and there are no number one and number two, that they're both starting over from scratch. So that makes me excited. I'm excited to see that that Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris are going to be starting over at 0 this season as both number one drivers. So from there we move on. There's going to be some probably good speculation as to what about Cadillac coming in, and the Cadillac conversation, who's going to be driving and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really have too much to talk about on the Cadillac side. It's all speculation. We've seen 1,000 times over how things in Formula One just changed. So I'd rather stick to talking about stuff that we know for sure, which is going to be that Esteban Ocon driving at Haas. Should be pretty cool. Haas is going to be a pretty strong midfield team. By the way, Gunther Steiner coming out as an Instagram celebrity. he's got a ton of followers. I think him and his he and his daughter. Yeah, he and his daughter have a ton of followers on Instagram. Their account is really, really funny. He does a lot of shows. hopefully we can get Gunter Steiner on the podcast. If we do a good enough job of reporting on the most important things, he would be a killer guest to have on the program, guys. So that's always funny. What else? We're kind of rapid fire today because while today is Saturday, this episode is dropping tomorrow. The reason that this is going to be dropping tomorrow is because on Wednesday we actually have another special guest episode. We're going to be talking to an old friend of mine about some really cool car stories. So tomorrow's episode is today, what we're talking about, Formula One. We started racing on F1 2022 on my simulator because my buddy set up his gear over here, and it's been flying. Got the settings all figured out now. For those of you that don't sim race, there's a lot of different types of equipment you can use for sim racing. I personally use Thrustmaster. I don't get to race enough to have Fanatic and all the other cool stuff. I mean, I get it. Having a direct drive, direct drive equipment is cool. That's a lot of Newton meters of force that I'm sure I'm gonna love. Here's the thing. I'm pretty quick regardless, so I don't need that stuff. I like to just have a good time. So the simulator right now that I have set up, it's an aluminum extrusion rig. It's got a racing seat, the SF1000 Ferrari carbon fiber steering wheel, the Thrustmaster setup with the load cell pedals, and it's pretty damn fast. So we've been running on some Formula One. I raced ACC earlier. That was a pretty good time. Watched some of the Asian Le Mans 4 hours of Dubai. Congratulations to Proton, one of my dear clients, old customers from a previous manufacturer that I used to work for. He and his team won in the GT3 category, so congratulations to them. Really cool stuff. Yeah, woke up this morning just in a really kind of motorsport sort of mood. So I wanted to watch a little bit of racing and then record this episode of the show. Outside of that, Monterey Car Week was something that I was thinking about this week. I don't see why we don't end up at Monterey Car Week this year in the effort of growing the show a little bit. I think Monterey Car Week is probably the best place to be if you host an automotive podcast, especially like this where we've already been there once and we could talk about all the experiences, go to the same shows, hopefully run into a lot of the same familiar faces and just really have a good time. It's good for the program to get out there and spend time with other like-minded people that are in the automotive industry. And yeah, going down 17 Mile Drive would be really cool again. Bixby Bridge, just take it all in because for those of you that have done Monterey Car Week before, you know it's a special time. Monterey, Seaside, Carmel, those are fantastic places in California that are not only just beautiful, but the best cars in the world fly in for a week. And you could be drinking a cup of coffee outside and just see a McLaren F1. Just like that. And so it leaves a lot of room for excitement and intrigue and just surprises, but it's also good for content. I really want to put the show in the action, give the folks who are involved with this stuff an opportunity to speak about it without having to really separate themselves from the interaction. So if we can put ourselves in the event and record the show on site, these folks can do their stuff and just kind of say, hey, here's what we got going on. We've got 900 cars here. Bring your friends, bring your family. We're here, and we're doing a live show, which means you're not going to see it tomorrow or the next day. We're going to be doing a real live recording, and we're going to promote it in advance, give folks an opportunity who didn't get to see the show in person to sit back at home with a cup of coffee or a nice snack and watch what's going on around us in real time. I'm not aware of a lot of shows that are really giving folks at home a chance to experience the event live on site from the comfort of their couch. So that's something that we're going to try to prototype with a little bit and experiment with. I think it'd be really cool to actually take the equipment with the microphone and a camera and actually walk the event, show folks what's going on, maybe interview a couple people as we go along the way, ask them what their favorite car is. There's a lot of really, really cool things we can do for the show. It just all starts with building it up, and so we've got to get people listening. We need folks to spread the word a little bit. It's a really interesting program, and we're going to have a lot of guests on the show that are going to really make this thing impactful and interesting. Again, I've said this many times, this show is about inspiring the next generation of car enthusiasts who don't know exactly what there is and the depths of the car world. We're basically going to open their minds and open their eyes to how deep and how amazing the industry really, really is. You guys all know, I know, there's a lot to be had in the car world, but you got to find it. So we're gonna explore those things. The next guest that we're going to have on the show, again, like I said, it's a buddy of mine. We actually go way back, about probably 12 years or so. We were young. We loved cars. We used to take pictures of our cars together all the time, go run the streets, go pretty fast. And we're going to share a lot of those stories next week. So with that being said, guys, I think that's going to be it for this episode. Like I said, you guys are going to be hearing this tomorrow on Sunday. The show premieres every Wednesday and Sunday on all your favorite podcast platforms. So please listen, enjoy. I hope you guys all take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for joining. This is our portable on-location video podcast studio. And it's pretty simple, but really doesn't take a lot to talk about cars. It just simply takes a little bit of passion and a little bit of knowing how to use a microphone. So with that being said, guys, I am out. And we'll see you guys next time.